At the sound of the bluesy turnaround in the key of E, it's a sign that you are tuned to number 123, the 123rd SongBike Guitar live stream here on YouTube. For some reason, I'm not seeing the chat on my end. So just text me. Maybe our moderators can keep track of the chat, and until it pops up on the screen here, I don't know. I want your questions, man. Okay, moderators, here's your big chance. You know my number. You know my name. When you have a question, make sure you put a bunch of question marks in advance of your question. The moderators aren't going to see it unless it has a whole bunch of question marks in front of the question. Well, it'll all work out, right? It'll all work out. I don't know how, but it'll all work out. What do we have to look forward to tonight? We're going to be playing in a very short time. I mean, in a matter of 1 or 2 minutes, we're going to be playing something that you're going to love. It's a very cool warm-up exercise, so grab your guitar. I'm here for your questions, of course. In between your questions, what are we going to talk about? We have 2 WTFs, 2 weekly teaching features tonight. And the first one we're going to get to in just a second, String Skipping 101. We have my own dumb question of the week. We have some hidden Grammys, some Grammy nominees who are fantastic, and you want to know about them, but you might not know about them unless you do a deep dive into the Grammy nominees this year. Grammys are in just a few weeks, Sunday, February 1st, whatever that first Sunday is in February, is when the Grammys are. So they're coming up, man. You want to be familiar with who's been nominated for what, because there's so much talent out there. Our play-along song of the week is a great one. I had to double check to make sure we hadn't already done this song. I don't know why we haven't done this song before now, because we've done over 100 of these, but I'm guessing the reason why I used to be hesitant about songs like this is because it has an F chord and a B minor chord, and I used to be concerned that you guys might not be 100% down with Fs and B minors, but of course you are, right? You're good at F and B minor. So this song, you need F, B minor, and some other easier chords. So you have that to look forward to. Okay, and what else we have going on? Didn't get any great student quotes of the week this week, so you guys are gonna have to come up with your own. Put them in the chat. Put your quote of the week in the chat. Is there something that you thought to yourself while you were banging away on the guitar and you thought, that's a pretty profound thought I just had, or humorous, or self-deprecating? I don't know. Share it with us in the chat. Yeah, man, that ought to keep us going for a little while. What I just mentioned right there. Okay, let's learn something. I'll tell you what we're about to learn. Give me a second here. String Skipping 101. You guys remember this book? I got this book for $4 the other day at the used bookstore. A book courtesy of Guitar Player magazine. A book called Sessions. And there was a cool thing in the book, and I thought I would share it with you. Okay, we need that. We need this. Beautiful. Looks great. Okay, let's get right into it. I am here to make both of us better guitar players, me and you. And I like this one. Okay, you ready? Okay, say it with me. If your screen goes black, don't freak out. Don't freak out. It's okay. The screen will not be empty forever. What we're about to do, String Skipping 101. String skipping, it's when you jump over one string to get to the next string. And chances are, if you're doing string skipping, or if you hear someone like me talk about string skipping, it's a skill that happens suddenly. It could be predictable, it could be unpredictable, but the bottom line is you want to be able to jump over strings and get to a different string with confidence. So what do we have here? We're working with an A minor pentatonic scale for no particular reason except that it's a very common scale that we all seem to learn sooner or later, hopefully sooner. That particular version or form of the minor pentatonic scale, I call the headquarters pattern. And real quick, the reason why I call it that is it's an A minor pentatonic scale, and the very first note on the fat sixth string, that 5 on the fat sixth string, is the note A. And so that kind of grounds you right into the world of A. And to me, that feels very centered. I feel very well oriented, starting an A minor scale on the note A on the sixth string. So I call that the headquarters pattern. Okay, so your first job, that top line, play that top series of numbers a couple of times to get warmed up. Alternate picking with your picking hand. 5th position for your fretting hand. What does that mean? That means your index finger is going to play every 5, no exceptions. Your ring finger is going to play every 7, no exceptions. And pinky on the 8s. So 5, 8, index pinky. 5, 7 is index ring. Do it again, index ring. Do it again, index ring. Second string, you back to 5, 8 with your pinky. First string, 5, 8. You want to do it backwards, forwards. Okay, now I'm assuming that many of you are very familiar with that pattern, so let's move on. String skipping. We're going to play the 6th string. We're on line 2 now. The 6th string, 5, 8. But we're going to jump over to what you do on the 4th string, which is 5, 7. So we're still playing notes from the A minor pentatonic scale. We just skipped over a string. Then the 5th string, 5, 7, over to the 3rd string, 5, 7. Now is a good time to remind you, the fat string is known as the 6th string, okay? Skinny string is the 1st string. Littlest number, littlest string, okay? I'll say it again. Skinny string is known as the 1st string, string number 1. Fat string known as the 6th string. If you call it something other than that, you are swimming against the tide. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking so much. Here's line 2, smooth and steady. A little bit faster. I might make it look easy. I hope I do. But my little mind is working a little bit. I want to make sure I don't mess this up for you guys, right? It's not intuitive to break up a scale that you're perfectly good at by string skipping, but it sounds great to the audience, right? So fun, right? It just makes you a better picker in general. And for those of you who are into improvising lead guitar, it gives you a new tool for your toolbox. You're still working on a scale, right? You're still improvising with a scale, but string skipping sounds interesting, right? It's not boring. The page of this book that I stole this from, it doesn't end that way. Once you finish that line 2, your fretting hand moves up 2 frets. Pinky is now on 10. Your 4th finger is now on the 10th fret. And you essentially do the same thing backwards. Still string skipping, still the headquarters pattern, but now it's in 7th position. Just for the fun of it, right? Just for the fun of it. Okay? The 3rd line there should feel a little bit harder. I mean, if it doesn't, great. But I expect that the 3rd line would feel a little bit harder. You know, just getting first of all, shifting 2 frets up can be a little disorienting. It's supposed to be in this context. It's supposed to test you a little bit. And doing anything, quote, backwards can mess with your brain a little bit. That's why we do it, okay? My moderator is telling me that you guys are saying nice things in the chat. You're saying hello. And, oh yeah, interesting. And Barry is sharing with us that Slash was practicing string skipping, and that's an Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses heard him doing that, and that's how the Sweet Child of Mine riff was developed. Yeah, I'd heard, Barry, I didn't know that exact context. I had heard in general that the Sweet Child of Mine riff began as an exercise in general. I'd heard that story, and that they decided to build a song on that. Very cool. That's not the first time. Remember, Dust in the Wind was the same way, right? Dust in the Wind was a finger picking exercise, and the guitar player's wife said, that could be a song right there. So there you go. You never know where this stuff will lead, ever. Okay, so folks, do keep the chat going, keep everything alive. Sadly, I don't. It's not giving me the opportunity to put the poll question. I tell you what, we can still do the poll question. The poll question of the night, and you can just answer this question in the chat. Okay, the poll question of the night, until I figure out how to actually post it, is as follows. When was the last time you paid to hear recorded music? Have you bought an album, a vinyl record album, anytime recently? Do you pay your monthly, fee to Spotify or one of those music streaming services? Do you simply listen to all the good music you already own on compact disc, 8-track cassette tape, 78 RPM record? When was the last time? The question is when. When was the last time you paid money to hear recorded music in whatever form? And feel free to let us know some details. I think I have my little Spotify subscription, so that's for sure the last time I paid was whenever they automatically deducted it from my account. Last time I bought a couple of vinyl records a couple of years ago. I haven't bought a CD. I bought a CD. I bought 2 CDs. I bought 1 CD as a gift for a friend for Christmas. Okay, so let us know in the chat, when was the last time you paid for recorded music and what was the context? Let us know. Okay, so how are you guys doing on this WTF? By the way, WTF stands for Weekly Teaching Feature, and that's what you're looking at right there, the Weekly Teaching Feature of String Skipping 101. You guys okay with that? Get the concept? If this is easy for you, awesome. If this is a little bit challenging or more than a little bit, yeah, good. You have to keep track of a bunch of stuff. You're multitasking, right? You have to keep track of the overall scale, right? That's why I put the basic scale on the top line and the diagram above that. You have to keep track of that. And then comes the fun with the string skipping. Don't forget alternate picking. Don't skimp on that. Don't say, I'll get to that later. Nah, think about it. On any given string, there are 2 notes. There's no exceptions, right? 2 notes per string. And in every case, the first note is a downstroke, the second note is an upstroke. So of all the times you'll be told to do alternate picking, this is one of the easier ways to do it. Okay, the document you were looking at will soon be uploaded to my website, song-bike.com, and members of my website, I hope that includes you, can access that PDF, or will be able to access that PDF, and many, 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 many other PDFs that are in the PDF section of my website. Hey, if you're not a member already, it's cheap, and you get access to a ton of stuff. Song-bike.com. Okay. Hey, before I forget, 2 live streams ago, we talked about Jimmy Reed. And I mentioned that Jimmy Reed's tablature book was very expensive and not easy to find. And one of you said, oh, there's a copy on eBay for $31. And I thought to myself, maybe I should jump on that. And I forget, a couple of days later, I thought, okay, I'm going to get that $31 Jimmy Reed book on eBay. And it was gone. Who bought it? I know one of you got that Jimmy Reed book. Well, good for you. I'm glad someone got it. But so I'm on the lookout now for another copy. Not just any Jimmy Reed book. The expensive one. I already have the one that is sort of written out in a very general way for all instruments. I want the expensive one. I want the one with the authentic transcriptions. I'm pretty sure is published by Hal Leonard Publications. So whoever got it on eBay, if you paid $31 or somehow you bargained and got a lower price, good for you. It's a great book. And don't be shy. Let us know in the chat, especially if it's one of our regulars who heard me talking about Jimmy Reed. If one of you guys got it, good for you. But let us know. Okay, I wanted to just mention that. I got a dumb question of the week. I ask dumb questions, so you don't have to. And I only ask one dumb question a week, although our moderator, music fan, would beg to differ. I think I only ask one dumb question a week. This week's dumb question: isn't it great to have every song you've ever heard in your life available 24/7 right on your phone? Isn't that a great thing? It's a great thing, right? Those of you who have subscriptions to Spotify or YouTube Music and can access all that stuff, that's great, right? Is that a dumb question? What could go wrong? You hear about the guy who had all this music downloaded from iTunes, I guess, and when he passed away, Apple wouldn't let him, his estate wouldn't let him keep all the music that he had paid for and downloaded. And I think in court, it was decided that Apple was granting him permission to listen to the music. So that's what he was paying for. He was paying for permission to listen to the music on iTunes. He wasn't paying for the songs themselves. And his estate was not allowed to keep any of the presumably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs that he'd been listening to before he passed away. Whew, that's pretty intense. What do you think? Are we living in great times when most of the music, all the music you ever heard in your life is right there available? You just, boop, you can hear it. That's a good thing, isn't it? How could that possibly be a bad thing? I don't know. What do you think? That's my dumb question of the week. I'll say this. I have so many good memories and zero bad memories of shopping in record stores. I don't know. I'm glad I had that experience. Young Jonathan, I'm glad I had that experience. When I got an LP record, I bought an LP record a couple of years ago, a used record. And as I drove home from the record store, I realized I could just listen to it on my phone before I got to where my turntable and speakers were. I could be listening to the record already. And then I did kind of have to laugh at myself. It was fun having the LP record. What was the LP record? I'm glad you asked. Charlie McCoy. It was a Charlie McCoy solo record. Charlie McCoy, multi-instrumentalist. Many of us came to become familiar with him through the Bob Dylan recording sessions for Blonde on Blonde, I think, and other ones too. I think Charlie McCoy played on Nashville Skyline as well. Multi-instrumentalist Charlie McCoy, I digress. Anyways, what do you think? Is it a great thing that all the music you ever want to hear is right available for you, or is there anything wrong with that? Let us know in the chat. What do you think? Hey, Barry, thank you for your super chat. Hey, DAC Poet gets CDs from the Friends of the Library sale. Yeah. Hey, you're supporting your library and getting all these great CDs. And I bet you're not paying too much for those CDs, right? The money all goes to a good place. CLS Greats. The last recorded music you paid for was a Tom Petty compilation album last summer. Yeah. Martian does Apple Music. Anybody have bad experiences with downloaded or streaming services? I've been using Spotify Premium, and I've had good experiences with Spotify, but I keep hearing worse and worse information about Spotify, and just in terms of lots of things, including how little they pay the performers. So I hear great things about Tidal, Tidal, like a tidal wave. So I think maybe in 2026, I'll switch over to Tidal. I've heard it's very easy to take everything I ever created on Spotify, playlists and all that kind of stuff, and just import it into what you call your Tidal account. Anyways, okay. I digress. Let's keep rocking. Grammy nominees. I'm going to keep this kind of short, but I'm excited to tell you about 3 performers who are nominated for at least 4 Grammys, if not more. There's so many categories, and talented people can sometimes be nominated for more than 1 Grammy, as you are probably aware. So Samara Joy. I'm sure we have some Samara Joy fans out there. Samara Joy. Samara Joy is nominated for 2 Grammys for 2 different things. She's nominated for Best Jazz Performance for a piece called Peace of Mind. And she's also nominated for Best Jazz Vocal Album for an album called Portrait. So someone that you should know about, I'll share at least 1 or 2 links to relevant links to Samara Joy in the description of this live stream when it's all done. Who else is nominated in the Best American Roots Performance category? Fan favorite, Mavis Staples. When I say fan favorite, I'm talking about me. Mavis Staples is nominated for the song called Beautiful Strangers. I believe the performance category, when they say, you know, best about performance, I believe they're talking about a specific song. In this case, it's Beautiful Strangers by Mavis Staples. And Best Bluegrass Album. Here's a familiar name. The nominee this year, one nominee, Billy Strings. I'm sure we have some Billy Strings fans out there. Billy Strings was nominated for his album called Highway Prayers. So, Samara Joy, Mavis Staples, Billy Strings. If you are familiar with all 3 of those performers, how cool are you? A great taste. But if any of those 3 are not super familiar, that's why we're here at the 123rd SongBike Guitar Q&A live stream here on YouTube. That's why we're here. Quick check on the weather. We may be getting a little snow. Since I have a window right here, I can check outside. I don't see any snow out there. How's your winter been? We've had some weird weather here in Connecticut. If I didn't know better, I would have thought we had some spring coming just a few days ago. It almost seemed like winter was over, but I know better. I'm a New Englander. It's not over till it's over. It's not over till the Red Sox begin spring training. That's approximately, even then, spring training is so early now. February, right? Forget it. Winter never ends. It never ends. Anyways, hope you had a great week. Hope the weather is at least bearable where you are. That's who we have in our Grammy nominees, what I call the hidden Grammy nominees, people who might not get all the spotlight that other folks do. So links to videos featuring those people will be in the description of this live stream as I timestamp it a little bit later after our live stream tonight. Okay, checking the chat, checking the, Christian is asking if I have albums on Apple Music. My recordings are not available anywhere. Someday, but I don't have any. I don't have any albums that are out there. Someday. Barry is going to go see Paul Simon in Dublin this summer. Paul Simon is on tour. That's awesome. I saw a very touching photograph. Boy, if I had it together, I could actually share it. I saw a great photograph, and why not? I bet I can find a way to share it with you guys. There it is right there. Okay, boom. Bear, you remind me of this. I didn't know Paul Simon was on tour, but don't go anywhere, you guys, because you might get a kick out of this photo the same way I did. It is a photo that showed up on social media. I'll say this. I do, this day and age where everything is available all the time and information is everywhere, sometimes I just like seeing a great photo. Let's see, there we go, right there. Okay, stand by, everybody. You might get a kick out of this photo the way I did. Boom. Oh, I don't want that. I want this. I want this. Okay. There's a nice photo, right? Okay, if you're seeing what I'm seeing, it's a photo of Paul Simon and Paul McCartney, two of the best Pauls, hanging out. According to this, it's a photo from December 30th of 2025. Or maybe that's just when it was posted. Someone posted it. That's a great photo, huh? You guys see, I can make it a little bit bigger. Can I? Oh boy, I want to make it too big. How about, that's a little bit bigger, okay. Whoa, there we go. Could it be after a show? Could it be, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's a nice photo. So I figured you just remind me of that. You remind me of that, Barry, when you said that you were going to see Paul Simon this summer. Look at those guys. I want to give them a hug. They're not going to be around forever, right? The last thing they want is some dude go up to them and giving them a hug. I'm doing it in my mind. One of the cutest things a student ever said, I had a little boy one time, and he seemed a little stressed out at his lesson. And I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, I mailed my letter to Santa for what I want." He said, "But I forgot to tell Santa what my sister wants for Christmas." He was kind of bummed out. He was kind of concerned. I said, "Oh man, yeah, okay." And before I could offer whatever dumb thing I was about to say, he said, "So I just sent it in my mind." Yeah, man. Gotta love that. Okay, there you go. There is a cool photo. That's the kind of thing that I save on my phone. Photo of Paul Simon and Paul McCartney. Go figure. Hey, I saw a question came in. Thanks to our moderator, Beth. Beth saying, what type of guitar would you recommend for someone with hand and arm disability, struggling with playing chords? Two things. The right guitar, which we'll talk about in a second, and making sure the guitar is adjusted perfectly so that it's as easy to play as humanly possible. And that might require bringing whatever the guitar is to a guitar repair person, a luthier, a guitar tech of some kind, so they can adjust it. In a perfect world, whoever you buy the guitar from has already done that adjusting, whether it's Sweetwater, your local neighborhood mom and pop guitar store, but you can't count on that, not anymore. So if you ever could, I mean, anyways, the bottom line is you might have to take the perfect guitar to that perfect person to have them make the final adjustments. So Beth, it's worth considering electric guitar. And I've started saying that to people because in general, electric guitars are simply easier to play for your fretting hands. They just are. You may have every intention of playing a beautiful acoustic guitar made of beautiful wood that sounds so warm and rich. I get it. It's a beautiful sound. I love it. But that's one answer to your question. Get an electric guitar. It's just easier to play in general. And it's designed to be easier to play, you could say, in general. You still might have to have it checked out and fine-tuned, but that's one option. Squire Stratocaster, an Epiphone Les Paul, whatever is in stock at your local neighborhood mom and pop guitar store, plenty of great guitars for not a whole lot of money. Here in my shop, we have a Sire guitar, the S-I-R-E, Sire guitar. Fantastic guitar. I can't believe someone didn't get it for Christmas. That's all right. But we're selling it used for $350. Not cheap, right? That's not, I mean, it's $350, but you can find less expensive guitars. But if that's anywhere near your price range, $300 to $400, there's so many great guitars out there. And Sire is just another good brand name, S-I-R-E. Okay, so number two, you want, on acoustic guitar, you want to get essentially the smallest guitar possible without it turning into like a little toy. You do not want a dreadnought size guitar, right? A D size. That's the largest kind you can get. You do not want that. You want what is often called a concert size, or a some people call it a triple O size, like 000 triple O. Basically the ones that look more like a figure 8. Still talking about acoustic guitars now, but more like a figure 8 and not like that big boxy semi-square kind of look. You want the smaller kind. Now, I don't have a specific brand and say, oh, here's the specific brand and specific model. There's a lot of brands and models out there. Plan A is to go to your closest music shop and talk to them. You will not be the first person to say, I want a guitar that's comfortable and easy to play. That's probably one of their top 2 questions they get. Plan B, call up Sweetwater. Sweetwater has sales reps. This is also an extremely common question for Sweetwater sales reps, I'm sure. They want to know if you're right-handed or left-handed. At least they should ask if you're right-handed or left-handed. Tell them your height. Tell them your issues. Tell them that I said that they'd be happy to help you. Okay, here's a out-of-the-box idea. Baritone ukulele. A baritone ukulele is, imagine a mini guitar. 4 strings, but the 4 strings are tuned exactly like the 4 treble strings of a guitar. EBGD. They're cute. They sound great. They're very portable. You can spend a little money. You can spend a lot of money. There's a wide variety out there, but it's specifically the baritone size of ukulele. Not any ukulele, the baritone size. It is not as big and full and rich sounding as a 6-string acoustic guitar, but neither is it kind of that thin, plinky plink sound of a typical soprano ukulele. It's in between. Don't rule it out. Keep it as an option. Admittedly, it's only 4 strings. I know. But so many people have never heard of a baritone ukulele that I like any opportunity to get that name, that phrase out there, because it can solve a lot of problems. In fact, those of you who already have 10 guitars in your collection or more, you might want to consider a baritone ukulele because they're so cute and easy to take anywhere, and they're fun. It's a fun little thing, like a little sports car. A lot of people make mini-size guitars. Baby Taylors. Any of you guys have Baby Taylor guitars? The Martin mini guitars. Now, these are not cheap. They're good quality, but they're not cheap, So Beth, I know hopefully some of those suggestions make sense to you. Let us know, especially Beth, if you get something and it works well for you, please come back and let us know, because it's like I said, it's an extremely common question or point of concern among people, Christian says, Paul Simon is coming to Denmark as well. Beth, I see that you're saying that the place you went to was not helpful in shopping for a guitar that fit you. I'm sorry about that. And especially in 2026, I don't see how a neighborhood mom and pop music store can stay in business and not offer A+ customer service. If you went to a big old guitar center, yeah, my expectations are lower for Guitar Center. Hey, Dusty Dave, I see your question there. Dusty Dave is asking, why do the first fret notes played along with open strings sound so exotic or evocative? Or are you talking about like a... that kind of sound, right? The open string and then the first fret in that string. What you're hearing there is a half step, that musical distance. What your ear is hearing is the sound of a half step, which on the guitar is the physical distance of an open string to the first fret or any fret to the very next adjacent fret. That distance is known as a half step. So a half step, depending on the sound, can, be evocative. Most famous half step, in my opinion, anybody thinking about going swimming? What I was just playing right there is I was playing the open 6th string and then the 6th string first fret. Now I have no idea if that is literally how the theme from Jaws goes. I don't know if it's those 2 notes, but it is the distance of a half step. It's a creepy sound, right? So no matter how you play it, it's the smallest musical jump in Western music. I'm not going to say in all music because there's lots of music in the world. So in terms of Western musical culture, the half step is the smallest amount of movement, melodic movement. So here's my 2 cents. Music that moves that small, tiny amount, in this case from the open string to the first fret, it's the equivalent, bear with me, hear me out, of seeing something move in the corner of the room out of the corner of your eye. You just saw something move. Was it a mouse? Was it a rat? It's dark over there. All you know is you saw something move and you're kind of creeped out. So musically, that's the equivalent. Something just changed just a little bit in the music and you know something happened, but you're not sure where this whole thing is going. I know but that's one image I want to present you with. Why does a half step, why does it have the flavor it does? However you want to describe that flavor. Speaking of half steps, name this tune. Name that tune. While you're thinking of naming that tune, oh, and how about I think there's one specific person who is known for playing that song, for singing that song. What's the song and who's the person? I'll give you a clue. His initials are JR, like Who Shot JR, but not that JR. I'm dating myself. So when I'm looking back at what you said, Dusty Dave. Yeah, why they sound so exotic or evocative. Another factor is, speaking as someone who listens to music that's based on Western civilization and our principles of whole steps and half steps and major scales, anytime I hear music from a faraway, quote, quote, exotic place, quote, quote, that has more notes and smaller increments between notes than we do, my mind right away knows that's from a faraway place, from a different culture. Imagine music played on a sitar, where strings are being bent very slightly or slid with like a slide type of thing, very slightly, and the sound is changing just a little bit. Right away, you start thinking, if you're like a lot of us, you start thinking, ooh, that's music from a faraway place, because the sound is changing so slightly. The closest we can do to imitate it on a fretted instrument, if we wanted to imitate that exotic sound, is to go from one fret to the very next fret, or like you said, Dusty Dave, from the open string to the very first fret. That's how we can imitate. That's how we can imitate that small movement that we hear in other cultures out that aren't based on the Western notions of major scales and all that kind of stuff. Joseph, you got it. Secret Agent Man from Johnny Rivers, you got it. Yeah. I'm just looking at what you other. Yeah. Chaz says nothing. Says baritone ukuleles are addictive. Hey, I'm going to say hi to a few people. Ruben is checking in from Middletown, Pennsylvania. Ruben, does every state have a Middletown? Connecticut has a Middletown. Is that one of those names where, like, Main Street, like you got to have a Main Street in every town, and you got to have a Middletown in every state. So who else is here in the chat? Jamie, CLS Create, Nothing But Chaz, Beth, Christian, Dusty Dave. Just want to say hi to all you guys. DAC Poets, Poet is here. Martian is here. Okay, Matt is here. And I know some of your other guys are there too. So in case you're just tuning in, for some reason, I'm not seeing the chat on my computer. I wonder if I log in on my phone. Bear with me, you guys, because you are worth it. And I want to see what your chats are chatting about. If I log in like this. Shouldn't be so hard, right? I have an idea. Hey, while I'm doing this, we're coming up in a minute. Let's do our, I'm shaking my finger at you. I don't know why. Let's do our play along song of the week. So while I'm seeing if I can see your chats, get your B minor ready. You're going to need B minor a lot. It's a very important song, a chord in this song that we're going to do tonight. And F. Okay, so get warmed up on your B minor, please. Get warmed up on your F, please. You won't regret it. You do not need a capo for once. Okay, let's try this. No, I thought if I logged in, I could see the chat on my phone. Chat. Oh, I can see the chat on my phone. All right. So there's a little bit of a delay. but that's okay. We call this the fog of war, my friends, the fog of war. That's all right. When my mom says, how the live stream go, I say, well, you know what? I don't remember. I don't remember exactly. I think in general we had a good time because it's the fog of war. Yeah. So, but hey, music fan, please keep doing what you're doing because it's always possible that I'll be lagging a little bit behind in the chat, you know. Okay, let's do this. That's our play along song of the month, of the week, I mean. Or maybe it will be the one of the month. Maybe it'll turn out to be everyone's favorite tune of January 2026. Okay, the song that's going to get us demonetized this week. Hey, did I tell you guys that for some reason we went a few live streams and we did not get demonetized for some reason? I don't know. I mean, we were doing perfectly popular songs that typically would get us demonetized. I don't know, but we got demonetized. I should say profit sharing quote. I used the term profit loosely. All right, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Our song of the week, Wild Horses by the Rolling Stones. It checks a lot of boxes. It is slow, famous, full of easy chords. It's a great song, you know. I'm going to show it to you two ways, okay? As usual, because I'm looking out for you guys. What you're looking at is one way to play through Wild Horses, and don't go anywhere. Here's the other way. I'm going to make this a little tiny bit smaller. There we go. There's another way of doing it. One clearly is based on the lyrics right there, and I'll explain more about both of these. And the other way, boom, right there, is literally what any guitar player needs to know is right there, you know? Okay, so how about, let's see, boom. Let's do this one first. When we do our actual play along in a minute or two, we'll be looking at the lyrics, that page. But for the moment, let's start you off with this page just to sort of get you on, because you know what I want to hip you guys to is those chords up at the top of the page. For some of you, this A minor chord right there, that A minor chord, sorry, A minor 7, that A minor 7 chord is a new one. Now, I'm going to make it easy for you because it is easy. If you do G with your middle ring and pinky, with your pinky finger on the skinny first string, then that pinky is already there when you, like Keith Richards, change over to the A minor 7 chord. So here's the G. Here's A minor 7. Okay, now there are multiple guitars playing in Wild Horses. So we're focusing on the background chords. You can't go wrong learning the background chords for a song. There may be moments when you think, wait, I remember there's a different guitar thing. Yeah, you're hearing or remembering the lead guitar part or some other guitar part. That's okay. That means you have a good memory. Okay, but we're focusing on the proper and crucial chords to strum. So there's a cool little workout for some of you. Specifically doing G without your index fingers. See my index fingers floating around off the guitar? G with your middle ring and pinky, keeping that pinky touching while you change over to this A minor 7 chord. Some of you might say, wait, I know another way of playing A minor 7. I'm sure you do. This is the way you play A minor 7 for this song. That's all. By the way, you could just play regular A minor during the intro. You could. But we're going for, making an effort to sound more like their actual song, But could you get by with just playing an A minor chord there? Yeah, you could. Okay, so B minor. You've heard me say this many times. B minor is not physically hard. It's just inconvenient. It always comes at a bad time. It doesn't pair well with other chords. What are you going to do? There's no trick to B minor. You're welcome to do it as a bar chord. I don't do it as a proper bar chord, but don't let me stop you. I have no idea how Keith Richards frets the B minor for this song. Do do the best you can with whatever version of B minor that you do. I often split the difference. Instead of just doing the 4-string, 4-finger B minor that you see on the page there, I'll take my index finger off the 1st string and arch over to the 5th string, 2nd fret. That's the note B. And then I'll confine my strumming to those 4 strings I'm touching, the 4 inside strings. Why did I not show that on the paper? Because it's not intuitive or particularly comfortable compared to the one I did put on there. Okay, so we have an intro, we have a verse, we have a chorus. There is a guitar solo in the middle of the tune, and for no obvious reason, the guitar solo background chords are not directly related to any other sequence in the song. Oh well, what are you going to do? It is what it is, you know. In a minute, I'm going to skip over to the page with the lyrics and the chords, but you know, you can see the intro happens once, the verse happens twice. See those 2 dots? I'm using my cursor. Those 2 dots at the end of the verse. Those 2 dots send you back to the verse. So you do the verse a 2nd time through, and then there's the chorus. 2 lines of the chorus, which lines are almost identical. And then when you finish the chorus, you go back to the verse and the whole thing starts over again. And I think after, you know, 2 of those verses and 2 of those choruses, that's when the solo kind of comes in. We're not going to be too concerned about the solo section. Okay, let's get right to what you kind of can't live without. Okay, on this piece of paper that you're looking at right now, everybody see this. Again, if your screen goes black, don't stress. But hopefully you're seeing what I'm seeing, which is the lyrics to Wild Horses with chords up above the lyrics. I'm going to take a sip here. Don't go anywhere. The cider is back. I know I went a couple live streams without my apple cider. It's back, man. Okay. So there's something extremely important, and it has to do with those chords with a circle around them. And there's a lot of those. Anytime you see a chord with a circle around it, you only strum it for 1 beat. It could be as simple as 1 single strum. Could you do like 2 faster strums at that moment instead of 1 slow strum? You could, but let's keep it simple. Anytime you see any chord with a circle around it, you're going to strum it only 1 time. So that's why those are circled. And I would go as far as to say that's one of the distinguishing features about this song. It has a lot of those moments. And they'll make more sense as we strum through it, as you hear me do it, and as you do it yourself, it'll make more sense. It's not unheard of, but we've done an awful lot of songs on this live stream, and having a chord that shows up for 1 quick strum before the next chord kind of takes over, that doesn't happen that often, you know? It's something that I think is a little bit unique to this song, a little bit. Okay, what else can I tell you about here? Okay. A to Z, you love this tune, like this tune? Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like this tune, right? Those romantic softies, Mick and Keith. What else can I tell you about this tune? Long story short, in general, it's 4 beats. I'm going to do 4 down strums for pretty much every chord except when there's that circled chord. Here's another little twist. Since the circle chord happens only once, in general, the chord that precedes the circle chord happens only 3 times instead of 4, you know? Now, this makes way more sense when you play it, when you hear the recording. I'm just trying to set you up for some success. So when you see that circle chord coming up soon, the chord that you're on right before the circle chord, give it only 3 strums. Or however you're strumming it, make sure it only lasts for 3 counts. And then there's the circled chord, and you're already on the next thing. How about if, before we play the tune all the way through, how about if I play the first maybe 1 or 2 lines? I'm going to skip over the intro for now. I'm just going to want you to hear how sometimes a chord will happen 3 strums or 3 times plus the circle chord, and then you get back to 4 strums each. Okay, so just for fun, here's the first line. 2, 3, 4, B minor. Childhood living is easy to do. Good so far, right? A minor. The things that you wanted, I bought them for you. 2, 3. Graceless lady, you know who I am. You know I can't let you slide through my hand. So I'm really exaggerating, that those moments where there's just one strum, but you get the idea, okay? I'm going to try not to go any faster than that because there's no need to go faster than that. It's a slow tune. Let's enjoy ourselves. Okay, you guys ready to do this? While I'm getting my own copy handy, I want to remind you that this is the preparation, so to speak. This is getting used to the song so that hopefully you feel motivated and empowered, inspired to crank up the song at home and play along with the song, and then, put in the sweat and take the time and get good at the song way beyond this live stream. I am going to do the intro. I am not going to do the guitar solo part. Again, the guitar solo chords are on the other page, but it's, C's and F's, and it's nothing remarkable. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to play, knock on wood, is exactly what you see right in front of you. Okay, grab your G chord. Remember the intro. We're going to do that intro at the top of the page, and then we'll get into the verses. I'm ready if you are. I'll see you on the other side. Intro. 2, 3, 4. Childhood living is easy to do. The things that you wanted, I bought them for you. Graceless lady, you know who I am. You know I can't let you slide through my hand. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. I watched you suffer a dull aching pain. Now you decided to show me the same. No sweeping exits or off stage line could make me feel bitter or treat you unkind. Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild, wild, wild horses couldn't drag me away. I know I dreamed you a sin and a lie. I have my freedom, but I don't have much time. Faith has been broken. Tears must be cried. Let's do some living after we die. Wild, wild horses couldn't drag me away. Wild, wild horses, we'll ride them someday. Don't suppose any of you picked up on this notion of C to D just by moving the C up 2 frets. I threw that in a couple of times towards the end there. I'm on C anyways. Just for the fun of it, you could play D like a C chord. The C formation slid up 2 frets. Is it still called a D? Does it sound exactly like the traditional D? No, it is not officially just a D major, and it does not sound exactly the same. But it's interesting. And you're only doing it for one beat, you know? C. Yeah, why not, you know? In case some of you have never done that before, now you know a little trick. C up 2 frets. It is a D major chord. It just has the open 3rd string. And if you strum it, the open 1st string. And those add some color. You know, it gives it a dreamy kind of feeling. It's not always going to be an appropriate substitute for a D major chord. But try it. Since you're on the C anyways, I mean, it's so easy just to slide up 2 frets. Just an idea. Okay, thoughts? Let me know in the chat how that went for you. Yeah, A to Z Me says the F comes out of nowhere. It kind of does, you know. Don't ask me what key this is in. Don't. I'm not listening. La, 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 la. Don't ask me. But seriously, what key is this song in? Well, I don't know. I mean, G, it's in the key of G-ish. It has a lot of chords that are synonymous, that are, that a lot of chords that are key of G chords. But I mean, the chorus is all about the A minor, right, on Wild Horses. The F chord is not a diatonic chord. It's not, quote, supposed to be there, end quote. And it resolves to a C chord at the end of, yeah. So this is one of many, many beautiful songs where there's not a quick, easy way to say definitively it's in one key. That's a lot going on. So yeah, again, don't ask me what key the song is in. It's in the key of Mick and Keith, you know. Music fan is reminding me that she says, you taught me how to do drum fills with this song. Oh, though I gotta bring some drums home. We gotta do this. We gotta do this. And we gotta entertain ourselves. It's gonna be a long winter. We gotta work up a set, you know. That's awesome. So yeah. Okay, cool, you guys. That is our play along song of the week. We have an awful lot. I'm gonna stop sharing that. Oh, just a quick reminder before I close this down. Remember that version right there? in that what you're looking at right there, that does summarize the song pretty well, you know. Everything but, oh no, there's the solo down at the bottom. This document and this document will both be uploaded to my website very, very soon after our live stream. So don't feel the need to scribble stuff down and remember what happens where. Nah, just get it from the website, song-bike.com. And there's a million more PDFs there. There's at least over 100. There's over 100 PDFs there, including many songs that we've done. Well, I think all the songs that we've done from our live streams. Okay. So. All right. Now, don't go anywhere because we have another WTF moment coming up. Weekly teaching feature. This time it's going to have to do with one string soloing. I think you're going to get a kick out of this. It tastes great and it's less filling. It's good for you and it's yummy. So it gives us a chance to make some beautiful sounds and also learn a little bit of music theory at the same time. I call it one string soloing, and it was inspired by this book, but I took what a guy did in this book and I changed it a little bit. Anybody recognize the name of a great guitar player named Mike Stern? Mike Stern, been around for a long time, played with Miles Davis. I carried Mike Stern's amplifier many years ago. I happened to be on the Yale University campus, New Haven, Connecticut. I was not a student there. I never have been a student there, but I was there and I saw this dude carrying some guitar equipment, like a guitar and amp, into the student center or something like that. He was doing some sort of gig. And I thought to myself, that looks like Mike Stern. And it was. And I carried his amp so he could carry his guitar. And I helped him down the hallway. I don't even remember. I just remember thinking to myself, I think I was 18. But I knew I'm good with names and faces when I want to be. And I thought, wow, man, I'm carrying Mike Stern's amp. I'm sure he remembers it. Somebody ask him. I'm sure he remembers. I didn't drop it. He'd remember if I did that. Why am I talking about Mike Stern? It was Mike Stern's page in this book that inspired the upcoming weekly teaching feature that I'm calling One String Soloing. So don't go away because we're going to talk about that in a minute. Keep your guitar handy is what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Okay. And there we go. I'm just looking at the chat. Okay. Yeah, you guys are funny. A bunch of jokers in the chat. Bunch of jokers. That's all right. Hey, if you don't mind, give this live stream a thumbs up. I literally cannot give my own live stream a thumbs up until it's over. I know it's kind of rude of YouTube, but if you got a thumb handy, give this live stream a like. Why not? Before I forget, consider following me on social media because that's how you find out stuff about this upcoming live stream and about who knows what. SongBike. Do a search for the term SongBike in either Instagram or Facebook. SONGBIKE. Why not? Right? Why not? Okay, I'm checking off stuff. Ooh, before we get to our next weekly teaching feature, I got show and tell. I mentioned this last week. That was the tell, and now I have the show. Okay, I went to Sweetwater and got something. I got Music Nomad Humidifier, the Humidifier 1, acoustic guitar, humidifier, and hygrometer. Okay, so let's talk about this for one moment because one of my students just looked at his acoustic guitar hanging on the wall and there's a big crack from dryness and he's kicking himself because he knew he should have been humidifying it. Don't let it happen to you. Now, last week I put a link to where you could check this out at Sweetwater. And if I have my act together, I'll put that link in the description of this live stream as well. Long story short, my friend, who is a guitar tech, who I bring all my instruments to, he recently reminded all of us to humidify your acoustic guitars, especially during the winter months when it's, for many of us, it's super, super dry. And he recommended this specific humidifier. So I thought, I'm going to get the one he recommended. It was not cheap. It was $29.99, 30 bucks. My very sweet mother-in-law had given me a Sweetwater gift certificate. And it was enough to get, well, almost enough to get 2 of these. I threw in a little bit. The SongBike fund paid for a little bit of the tax and whatever. So these are fun. They're fun because they tell you, I don't know if you can see there, they tell you the humidity and the temperature, the humidity being the most important thing, right? It runs on a little tiny battery. So good news and bad news. It seems to work just fine. And it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm doing something for my acoustic guitars. I'm keeping them in their hard shell cases with a case closed. And this sits down in the strings and sends the humidity right into the body of the guitar. And it gives me peace of mind and it makes me happy. And it's blue. So that means it's easy to see, easy to find. Yes, 30 bucks is a lot of money, but it's going to cost more than that to fix the crack on your guitar. And why not? It's fun seeing the actual readout of what the humidity is. I'm assuming that it's accurate. That's a big assumption, but I'm going to go with it. Are there any negatives? Well, they strongly recommend using distilled water, which I get, but it's just, I cracked it open. I was getting ready to use it, and then I realized I was going to have to run out to the supermarket and get a thing of distilled water. Kind of a pain, but I get it. It's the right thing to do. The other pain, it runs on a little battery, and the battery compartment is only accessible with a little teeny tiny Phillips screwdriver. And yeah, I have one of those somewhere, but did it have to be that way? There's no on-off button. So it's once the battery is in there, it's always on. So, well, I'll find out how long the battery lasts. Technically, it only has to get me through the winter, right? But knock on wood, it will get me through the winter. And my eyesight is not great. It's never been great. And the idea of having to twiddle with a little teeny tiny Phillips screwdriver, it's not my favorite. So anyways, that's my review. Glad I bought it. Nothing's perfect. I get it. But Music Nomad, it's called the Humidifier 1 acoustic guitar humidifier and hygrometer. Check it out. If you buy it using the affiliate link that I put in the description of this live stream, then SongBike Incorporated gets a little teeny tiny percentage. You do not have to do that. You can buy it however you want to buy it. For sure, Music Nomad doesn't give me any money. Sweetwater kicks back a little of their profits to me if you buy it using the affiliate link. You guys have heard me talk about that before. So keep in mind, any attempt at humidifying is better than no attempt, right? You do not have to buy a $30 product. I've heard people say, take a Ziploc bag, put a wet sponge in the Ziploc bag, poke a couple of holes in it. The cost practically zero, right? And it does the job. I can't argue that. It does, it does the job, So bottom line is, I'm here to encourage you to make some effort to humidify your acoustic guitar. And in an ideal world, anytime you're not playing it, it's in a closed hard shell case with the humidification thing inside the case with the guitar. Many of you don't have hard shell cases. You have gig bags. It's not ideal, but even then it's better than nothing, right? The reason I say it's not ideal because a gig bag is not going to keep the humidity in with the guitar the same way a hard shell case. It's still better than nothing, right? Okay, there you go. I just want to take a minute and talk about my recent investment. And at the moment, I'm pretty happy with the product. So there you go. Okay. CLS, I see what you're saying. Do I need a case to use the humidifier? No, because again, any attempt at humidifying is better than nothing. Here's the thing. Your house is probably pretty dry. So simply having that sitting in the strings of the acoustic guitar in an open room where the room humidity might only be 20% or something, it's still better than nothing, right? But it's not really keeping the humidity, in the guitar. So the wood can ideally absorb some of that humidity, or at least, the way someone put it, wood is always going to lose its moisture. That's the tree is dead. It's going, but by humidifying it, you slow down that process, and I think that's probably a good way. It's not like you're driving the humidity back into the wood, right? I don't think that's how it works, but you're really slowing down that process of drying out. So I don't see how it's going to be very effective, with one big exception. If you have a room humidifier, you guys go to like Guitar Center, they have that glass door and the acoustic guitar room, and they're not the only place that does that. But that's not only so you can hear the guitars better. I assume they do that so they can control the humidity in there, right? So hey, I spent $60 on 2 guitar humidifiers. Could I have spent $60 and just got a room humidifier? Yeah, maybe. And would it have had the same effect? Yeah, maybe. So it's not a crazy idea. So Chris, and plus it's going to make your own breathing and everything better, right? So that's something else to think about, especially if you have your instruments in one room. It's worth a try if you can close the door of that room and keep the humidity in. What we're going for is like 45% humidity. It's not easy to do, but that's what we're going for. So I'm here to give you information and to show you what I'm doing. Something to think about. It'd just be a shame for any cracks to develop that didn't have to happen. Do electric guitars need it? It's not quite the same. The fingerboard can shrink on electric guitar, and it is shrinking, but it can shrink to the point where it's noticeable, and you can feel the fret ends poking out. So it doesn't hurt to keep the electric guitar in a humidified space. It's just not quite as, in my opinion, quite as crucial as with acoustic guitar. Okay. Yeah, Barry's saying in Ireland, too much humidity is the problem. That's awesome. We all live in different places, right? Yeah. Very cool. Okay, let's do something. Enough of my chit chat. I'm going to close down Wild Horses. Okay, our second WTF, weekly teaching feature of the month, of the week, I mean. Okay, there we go. And this one, okay, that one. So this is what Mike Stern was talking about in that guitar book that I showed you, but he was doing a fancier jazzy version. And so I said, hey, let's do it in a way that's not quite so sophisticated. Okay, one string soloing. Like we did at the very beginning of the live stream, people very often learn a scale and then improvise with a scale, right? 5/7, 5/8, 5/8, and they dance around in that position, and life is good. Nothing wrong with that. But let's talk about an alternative. Doing something similar, but on one string at a time. Just a different perspective. This is not better or worse, just a different perspective, but it opens up a bunch of possibilities. Okay, I'm going to stop talking and illustrate this for a second. What you're hearing is my looped E minor chord. Oh no, B7, sorry, B7 chord. It's a B7 chord. B is in Bravo. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Looper. Okay, so I was just doing line number 3 there, or I was using the notes from line number 3. The Looper had a B7 chord going, B as in Bravo, and I was improvising with those notes on line 3, the 0, 4, 7, 10, 12 on the B string, and I was putting in some bonus notes. Okay, so I want to whet your appetite a little bit for what's going on. And if you have a Looper, this is going to be perfect for you loopy people. But let's start at the top of the page. There's the 5 chords that are relevant for this page: E, A, B7, E minor, and A minor. Okay, the first line of tab where it says capital E, that's the E major line, okay, that capital E. Some of you might not see this yet. That's okay. Give it a minute. Something that music fan and I talk about quite a bit is how random it seems when things appear right away as soon as I put them on the screen, and other times where for no obvious reason it takes a minute to show up. I can't explain it. Really can't. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything. Okay, so now that I believe now it is on the screen, the 5 chords at the top of the page are there for those of you who want to create your own loop out of this stuff. If you have a looper, or just record yourself on your phone, however you want to do it. Okay, but let's talk about the tab. Okay, the top line of tab, where it says the capital letter E. What you're about to play the numbers that you want to memorize, 0, 4, 7, 12. You're about to play those numbers, but I want you to memorize them. Just memorize them. 0, 4, 7, 12. You do not want to look at the screen anymore. 0, 4, 7, 12. Those numbers are extremely important for this particular weekly teaching feature called One String Solo. So 0, 4, 7, 12. The significance of 0, 4, 7, 12. Those notes, open E string, the 4th fret on the E string, the 7th fret on the E string, the 12th fret on the E string. Those are the notes that are the ingredients of an E major chord. And some of you are saying, yeah, but no, an E major chord is down here. Yeah, but the concept of an E major chord is an E note plus a G sharp note plus a B bravo B note. It's those 3 notes, E, G sharp, and B. And anytime you focus on those 3 notes anywhere on any instrument, you are essentially giving the world an E chord. But you can present it in a variety of ways, including playing them one note at a time. That still puts us in the world of an E chord. I'm just playing them one note at a time. You guys okay with that? I'm arpeggiating it. It happens I'm arpeggiating it just on the fat 6th E string. Okay, so what does this have to do with playing a solo? Well, if you're at a moment in a song when the band is keeping busy on an E major chord, you could certainly improvise with those notes. And in a minute, I'm going to give you some more options besides just those notes, but it's super important that you develop this perspective as opposed to staying in one position and just soloing, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Just a typical thing. Nothing wrong with that. This is a different perspective. So notice that because we have 2 E strings, I repeated the sequence 0, 4, 7, 12 on the skinny E string at the top of the page as well. So again, when the band is on an E major chord, you could improvise using all 8 of those notes, right? 0, 4, 7, 12 on the 6th string and 0, 4, 7, 12 on the 1st string. So not only can we describe that as the notes of an E major chord, but we can be even more specific. The definition, the formula behind any major chord is the 1st note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note of the relevant scale. So when I go 0, 4, 7, I'm playing the 1st note, the 3rd note, and the 5th note of an E major scale. The 12 is just an extra high E. And it's fun. Remember, 12, you got 2 dots at 12. Whatever you do, don't waste too much time wondering where 12 is. That's why you got those 2 dots at the 12th fret. Okay, so we're gonna get into some more colorful sounds in a minute. But let's move on to line number 2 where it says A. Hey, the band changes to an A chord, 0, 4, 7, 12 on the A string. Right? Improvise, have a ball with those notes, right? Questions, comments, you guys okay with this? Okay. And let's do one more, and then we're getting to some colorful sounds that go beyond these. The B7 chord. Why did I write B7? Well, that group of chords, E major, A major, and B7, just makes a really great chord family. There are a lot of songs that are written with E major, A major, and B7. So I figured, hey, let's take this concept of one string soloing and apply it not to random chords, but to chords that sound good together. Okay, so the B7, we have a new number, 0, 4, 7, 10, 12, bum, bum, bum. Why is that 10 there all of a sudden? Well, B7 is not a 3-note chord. It's not a triad. B7 has 4 notes. That's why you have the 0, the 4, the 7, the 10, and then the 12 again is just a higher B note. Doesn't really count as another note because it's just another B. So the 4 notes that truly make up a B7 chord are B, D sharp, F sharp, A, and then, like I said, we have the high B at 12. Okay, so now we're getting a little more color into the mix, right? 0, 4, 7, 10, 12. It opens the door, though, to this conversation. Hey, chords with a 7 in the name have 4 notes in them. Chords that are just majors or minors have only 3 notes. And now you can see it in a linear fashion right there in front of you. And again, just to be super clear, in case anyone missed it the first time, the final number, 12, does not count as new information. It's just a high version of 0. You know, if 0 is B, 12 is high B. So don't freak out when I say B7 has 4 notes, but there's 5 numbers there. Now you know why. You weren't going to freak out, right? Okay, now the reason why I used B7 for my little backing track right there is it's a bluesy sound. It's almost a jazzy sound, you might say. B7 chord is a chord that can show up in jazz, sure. It's for sure a bluesy sound. And that opens the door to playing some notes that are not chord tones. Everything on this page is a chord tone. It's a note that is found in whatever chord it's reflecting. So in the case of line 3, 0, 4, 7, 10, and 12, all those notes are notes found in a B7 chord. Again, let go of this notion that the only B7 on the guitar is that B7 illustrated at the top of the page. There's ways of playing B7 all over the neck, okay? In case you haven't noticed, I'm big on teaching chords, but then dispelling the notion that the chords down here, the cowboy chords down here, and the 1st, 2nd, 3rd frets, that those are the only ways of doing the chords. You got to learn those chords down there and then let go of that idea that that's the only way to do them. You get the idea. Okay, so I'm choosing B7 to illustrate the following. Playing notes that are not chord tones necessarily, but add such a nice touch. So what I'm about to do is get the looper going with a B7 chord. I am going to play those chord tones, 0, 4, 7, 10, 12. I'm also going to play the note 1 fret prior to the chord tone. So instead of just playing 4, I'm going to play 3, 4. Instead of just playing 7, I'm going to play 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. Instead of just playing 10, I'm going to play 9, 10. Instead of just playing 12, I'm going to play 11, 12, because it's fun and it's jazzy. Okay, here's what it's going to sound like. We're jazzing out here, right? Did I invent that? Of course not. Of course not. That's a cool jazz thing to do. You play the quote wrong note and then you play the right note. You know, now they don't call it the wrong note. I'm calling it the wrong note. You know, but yeah, you know, questions about that? You see what I just did right there? Okay. I sounded like more of a jazz player than I did 10 minutes ago, you know. It's fun. It's fun. So instead of just playing the chord tone, I was playing the note right before the chord tone, and it's tempting to say, well, it's not. That's like it's a way to fake that you're a jazz guitar player. But if jazz players actually do that, then you're not faking it. You're doing something jazz guitar players do. So pretty cool, right? What I just did we can do that with any of these, but I chose to do it with B7 since a seventh chord has an inherently bluesy, jazzy sound anyways. So I knew those little jazzy notes would sound cool. And they do. They do. Okay. So one string soloing. Questions, concepts. How do you feel about that? Let us know in the chat. Is this working for your musical ear? Is it not working? Someone pointed out, I was doing this with one of my in-person students this morning, this exact thing, B7 exact thing. I said, well, I played 9 and then I played 10. And then you could play 11 and then play 12. He said, well, then you could go 9, 10, 11, 12 right in a row. And yeah, that's what gave me the idea a minute ago when I was going, yeah, why not? You know, many famous musicians have had this quote attributed to them. There's in effect, they say, a note is not right or wrong. It's how you resolve that note. You know, you can play a quote wrong note, but if the next note is the right note, well, then you're all set, you know? Now, that is a super healthy way to think as an improviser. If you're playing Jingle Bells and you play a wrong note, that's not what this rule doesn't apply to that, you know? Although you got to keep on going with the song, the show must go on, right? That's show business. But improvisers 100% benefit from that attitude. You know, it's not a wrong note until you play the next note. The next note determines if the note you just played was right or wrong, you know, and I think that's a super healthy attitude. Okay, so because I only used half the piece of paper, I thought let's do the same thing with a minor chord family, E minor, A minor, and B7. So some twists here. Check out the sequence for E minor. It's not 0-4-7-12, it's 0-3-7-12. Oh my God, what just happened there? 0-3-7-12. Well, minor chords are different than major chords, and there's your proof. What used to be a 4th fret note, it's now a 3rd fret note. Why? Because a minor chord has one note different than a major chord, and the difference is 1 fret. And like you can see it. Hey, don't take my word for it. There it is right there. You know, what used to be a 4 is now a 3. And by the way, it has to be that note that gets bumped back a fret. Not any note. It has to be that specific note. For our purposes, it's the 2nd note in the sequence. Some of you have heard of flatting the 3rd. A major chord is the 1st note of a major scale plus the 3rd note of a major scale plus the 5th note. A minor chord, 1st note of the major scale, the flatted 3rd note of the major scale, and the 5th note of a major scale. By the way, sometimes those are called degrees. The 1st degree, the flatted 3rd degree, and the 5th degree. Yeah. So there it is right there in front of you. An E minor chord spelled out on one string. Right? You hear that little minor darkness. By the way, as you're seeing here, this is not a physical challenge, right? Hopefully none of you are struggling to play 3 or 7 or any of that stuff. It's not like a hard chord or something, right? Or a hard riff. This is training your ear, though. It's training your ear to hear the difference between a chord tone and something that's not a chord tone. I sure hope some of you are making mistakes. And I hope some of you make the loops and make mistakes during the loops, meaning you go to play 3, but you play 2 instead. You go to play the 3rd fret, but you play the 2nd fret instead. You'll make some very cool sounding mistakes to the point where you say, wait, that didn't sound bad. It sounded different, but it didn't sound bad. Yeah, it meant you played a note that was not in the chord, but had its own cool sound. Maybe you played a note from the E minor scale. It just wasn't one of the notes from the E minor scale that is in the E minor chord, right? Chords are very specific groups. A scale is a big, long sequence, right? But a chord is a very specific, piece of information with limits and boundaries around it. Okay. Everybody clear why on the E minor line I wrote on the fat string and the skinny string? Because those are both E strings, right? Okay, now let's wrap this up with a bottom line, B7. Some of you are looking at, wait a minute, you're looking at that, you're thinking, but I just got used to the 0, 4, 7, 10, 12, the B7 in the middle of the page. Why? Why is this B7 different? It's probably some teacher thing, right? It's probably trying to make some educational point here. Yup, it's true. It's true. Every little sequence you're looking at here starts on the root note, right? E starts in the open E string. A minor, that thing starts in the open A string. So that B7 at the bottom of the page, those are the notes from a B7 chord, the 4 notes plus an extra B at the end. It just happens that we're doing it with no open string involved. But I bet it comes as no surprise to you that the 2nd fret on the A string is the note B. Like when you do a B7 chord, you grab that note. So bear with me for a second. If you look at the B7 in the middle of the page, 0, 4, 7, 10, 12, we start on 0. We go up 4 frets, then we go up 3 frets, 3 frets again, and then 2 frets. So it's a 4 fret jump, then a 3 fret, and then a 2 fret jump. That way of describing it is the exact same on the bottom of the page. We just happen to start on 2. We go up 4 frets, then 3, and then 2. So it's a little bit mathematical. It's not hard math, right? 0 plus 4, 4 plus 3, and so on. But it's just another way of doing it. So that's why I put that at the bottom of the page, to show you that these are just patterns. They're just types of formulae, you know, and they don't always start in 0. That's fine. You know, the formula is still the same. Meaning you jumped up 4 frets and then 3 frets and so on like that, you know? Okay, so your homework is make a loop. And if you guys are not lucky enough to have a cool little looper, just record yourself on a phone. I mean, just take any one of those chords, any one of them. I know E minor, I know you all can play E minor. If you're doing it on your phone and just recording yourself, I encourage you to strum that nice and steady on that E minor for a solid minute. Don't do it for just 8 strums. You'll make yourself crazy. Because if your voice recording app is like mine, built into your phone, it doesn't have a built-in feature to make it loop around over and over again. So you want to go for at least a minute, because then it's going to stop right when you're having fun. You'll be like, oh, darn it. And then you'll have to click play. So bottom line is you don't want to have to do that every 5 seconds, right? If you're ambitious, do 8 strums on one chord, 8 strums on another chord. Keep them slow and improvise, you know, like a real improviser. Because sadly, most songs have plenty of chord changes, right? They don't just stay on one chord. You know, I mean, those songs exist, but for the most part, yeah, you want to train yourself to be able to react to the chord changes. Okay, you guys good with that? The chat has gone quiet, and that's I see that as a great sign. It means you guys are messing around with this stuff. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that page, but never fear. That is going to, again, be uploaded to my website in just a little bit. So there you go. Our second weekly teaching feature of the month. Okay, I'm just checking out the chat now. Okay, excellent, excellent. Hey, one of my customers, so to speak, ordered a couple of ebooks from me and was not clear that the ebooks get emailed to you instantly. And if you don't see it instantly, check your spam folder. What I'm talking about is books like this one right here, The Guitar Year 1. I am holding a paper copy, but for me to print these and ship these is just way too expensive. You don't want to spend $50, you know, but that it ends up costing a lot of money. So I do them as electronic ebooks. As soon as you buy it, it gets emailed to you. So this one customer said, hey, I ordered this book a few weeks ago. It hasn't arrived yet. And so I had to clarify, and the way I'm doing with you, that most of my books are electronic books. with the one exception of, did I grab it? There it is. Easy Guitar Chord and Lead Tricks by me from Hal Leonard Publications. If you order this book, I put it in a cardboard mailer and send it to you. That's different. And usually that arrives in a few business days. Anyways, in case any of you are inclined to order anytime soon, just know that almost every bit of instructional material on my website is an ebook. You get the PDF. If by some chance you don't see it within a minute or two of your purchase, check your spam folder just in case. But I have not had any problems with the system in general. The problem happens to be when I'm not 100% clear that that the books are electronic books for the most part. PDFs that show up in the mail. So anyways, I thought I'd share that with you guys. Okay, checking off this, checking off that, checking off that. Who's in town? Typically at a certain point in our show, I talk about who's in town. And I talk about performers who are coming through town doing essentially their material. There's a number of tribute bands who come through town. I tend not to hype up their shows. I'd rather save the spotlight for people out there doing their own stuff. And who is that? Coming through town, I believe this Friday night, songwriter named Ellis Paul. And I believe Ellis Paul is one of the many people who began playing the guitar because he was laid up with an injury. And I believe if he's the guy I'm thinking of, he was not a young kid. He was, I want to say, in his early 20s, never played the guitar before and had a broken leg or something. And that's when he started. This is many years ago now. So what does that teach you? Number one, it's never too late to play the guitar, to, in his case, build a career on it. Hey, you know what? If you can't get around the way you want to, maybe that's a good time to pick up the guitar, you know? That's who's coming through town this week in terms of playing original material and doing his own thing. Probably many of you who live close by any sort of performance space, you're aware of a pretty significant number of tribute bands out there doing tributes to everything and everyone. A lot of tribute bands out there in the world. And you know what? Power to them. I believe it's, you know, that's how you get people in the seats and paying for tickets, because of all the Eagles tribute bands and the Doors tribute bands and U2 and all that kind of stuff. That's show business. So it is a busy time here where I live. It's just that there's a lot of stuff that isn't original music. You get the idea. All right, you guys. Hey, now is a good time to ask a question because I have checked off everything I want to check off. Hey, Ryan, thanks for watching, Ryan. I'm going to say, while you guys are formulating a question to ask me with a bunch of question marks in advance, so I know it's aimed at me, I'm saying hi to a few people in the chat, such as Ryan and Beth. Thanks for being here. Beginner Guitar Lessons is one of our moderators. Hey, Beginner Guitar Lessons, thank you for being here. Looking to see if I missed anyone. Stephen, thank you for being here. Stephen Mannion. Ruben Toro, thank you for being here tonight. Okay. Excellent. All right. While you guys are thinking of a good question to ask a guitar teacher, I'm going to have some more of Lyman Orchard's apple cider. Good stuff. We'll be right back after this. And we're back. I always like to give a shout out to Leominster, Massachusetts. New England apple products out of Leominster, Massachusetts. That's where this was pressed, bottled. I'm assuming they've been keeping it frozen all winter. For the likes of me, that's what we got. Okay. Hey, one way you can support this live stream, just tell a friend. I'm aware, because I see the posts, I'm aware that there's a bunch of you out there who are doing just that on social media, and I appreciate that more than you know. It makes me so happy. So please do tell a friend. We have a great group of regulars who watch this show. I know there's a lot of people who watch it later because, let's face it, it's Saturday night, right? People are busy, people are out doing stuff. And I love knowing that we have a solid core of people just like you. But hey, tell a friend, okay? Tell a friend and tell them they can get SongBike t-shirt. In the description of this live stream is a link where you can get some SongBike merch. I thought I'd bust out the SongBike. It's such a gray day out there. I thought, let's get some color involved in this program. I got my yellow guitar. I got my bright blue SongBike t-shirt. Why not? Hey, Ryan, I see your question. Ryan says, how do you stop shaky fingers on the fretboard? Ooh, shaky fingers. Well, I'll tell you what, my first thought is confidence. The more you play, the more in my case, it's my weak hand, right? My left hand is doing all the fretting, not a confident hand, right? Over time, it gets more confident. And a little confidence goes a long way. I'm sure there's anatomical things going on, muscles, tendons, ligaments, neurons, new pathways in my brain, I hope, your brain, I hope. But the net result is that confident feeling, especially your ring and pinky. So to get that confidence, Ryan, you want to do any type of exercises that use all 4 fingers independently. So I'm not talking about a 4-finger chord like a B7 chord. I'm talking about scales, exercises, things that use all 4 fingers, ideally using them equally. And Ryan, many of our WTF features on this live stream, WTF stands for weekly teaching feature, are just that, 4-finger exercises. So you could go back to many of these live streams, and there's a whole playlist in the description of this live stream. I believe is a link, yeah, and it's already there, and everything is time stamped. So anything that says WTF, you can click on that, and chances are it's going to be this type of thing, some sort of scale, arpeggio, some sort of workout. So if your fingers are feeling shaky because you're asking them to do things they've never done before, and they're not accustomed to it, that's, put them to use, Typically our dominant hand is what we're strumming with, right? And typically our dominant hand is raring to go, right? It rarely, it might hit a wrong string now and then, but that's, that gets better over time. It's our weak hand, which typically is doing all the fretting, and that's just a real wake-up call, It's a guitar player thing. Piano players have the same deal, right? Piano players have to do a whole lot with both hands. Trumpet, not so much, right? Trumpet's a one-hand instrument, essentially. Bottom line is, that's part of the world of any stringed instrument, guitar, banjo, mandolin, ukulele. Now, here's a plus side. All the work you do to become a better guitar player, those skills are totally transferable to those other instruments I just mentioned. Banjo, ukulele, bass guitar, right? Fretted stringed instruments. I got to say, things without frets, violin, viola, cello, you still got your work cut out for you. At least you have some motor skills, but once you take away the frets, that's tough. At least I found it very tough when I went through my my violin years as an adult. Very humbling to try to be a violin player, as an adult. But I still have my violin. I'll get back to it. So I hope those are some good suggestions, Ryan. Yeah, Barry's pointing out if there's a medical reason why there's some shaking going on, that's different. But since I'm not a doctor, I assume you weren't asking me for medical advice, So practice. But when I say that, I'm talking about focused practice on very specific things, Hey, you can't go wrong, and you don't even have to write this down because it's going to be very easy for you to remember. You can't go wrong playing 1, 2, 3, 4 on each string, using each finger, and by shifting your thumb down the neck a little bit. My thumb is now pointing up towards the ceiling, more or less, right? Keeping each finger down once you use it. I'm back on the skinny first string. So you end up with all 4 of your fingers touching simultaneously. I mean, this is not a brain exercise because there's not, it's easy to memorize. But it does ask you to use all 4 fingers equally. And as you progress across the strings, it gets a little bit harder because you got to reach more. So that exercise and things like that are great for getting your strength, confidence, dexterity, and so on. Great for getting those up, Hey, Christian, I see your question. Oh, and I see CLS Create. I see your question too. Okay. I'm going to start with CLS Create's question. And the question is, I reused a broken string by looping broken ends together. Will my guitar explode? I can't imagine sort of a recycled string lasting as long as you hope it will. So I bet the string will break before anything adverse happens to your guitar, So now's a good time to, however you can get a set of strings, to get, either order them online like now, so they come soon, or, your local store, see if they're open tomorrow, because I have a feeling that no matter what, that string is not going to last too long. But hey, good for you for figuring out a workaround, like MacGyver, right? You MacGyvered it. MacGyver, MacGruber. Yeah. Okay, Krishna, I see your question. Krishna is asking a great question. If you play fingerstyle guitar, is it a good idea to have guitar picks on each finger, like John Denver did that? I'll tell you why I don't do it. Convenience. It's inconvenient. That's the number 1 reason I don't wear picks on my fingers when I go to play fingerstyle guitar. The number 1 reason is I don't want to have to find them, put them on, answer questions about them, it's just so convenient just to take my fingers and start playing the guitar. That's a little bit selfish, but that's why I don't use finger picks and thumb picks. I have used them in the past though, and once you get used to them, it can take a little while. The sound is great. The reason why it takes a bit to get used to them is you have lost contact between your flesh and the string. Now there's something in between, right? Either like a plastic thumb pick, which is extremely common, or the metal finger picks, which is extremely common. Well, now you can't feel the strings the way you used to. That's weird. It takes a while to get used to that. The resulting sound is typically a nice, crisp, clear, beautiful sound. Can't argue with that. Then again, playing with the bare fingertips is a very mellow, personal, beautiful sound. So you can't go wrong either way. Whether you want to call it lazy or selfish or whatever, I just don't want to deal with it. I own some finger picks. They're over there somewhere. So for that reason, I don't recommend using them, because then it becomes a thing. It's a thing. Like, oh, you got to buy them and try them on and keep track of them and buy extras and remember to bring them with you. And I just, if my bare fingers didn't sound so appealing, I'd feel differently, but bare fingers sound fine. And 99.99% of every classical guitar player you've ever seen, they're using their bare fingers, or to some extent their fingernails. So if I admire classical guitar players so much, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. But yeah, if you keep your eyes open, you will see fingerstyle guitar players who use some combination of thumb and finger picks. They're out there and they sound fantastic. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but that's why I don't use them myself. When I teach in-person lessons, I have the illusion that I'm in control of the lesson. I've been wrong so many times, but I like the illusion that I'm in control. So if I start teaching the lesson, if I say, hey, let's get into some finger picking, and I start putting on picks on my fingers, well, then the lesson turns into a conversation about playing with picks. Well, then where do I get the picks? Well, I have some here for sale. Well, I don't have any money today. Well, bring the money next time. Okay, well, do I have the right size for that person? And then it becomes, I forgot my finger picks this week. Well, you're supposed to bring them. Well, I forgot them. Do you have extras? Well, you know, my cat lost one of them. My dog ate the other one. It becomes a thing. So that's my excuse. There you go. So it's not part of my teaching. I say, hey, look, you got your fingers. Let's play. Okay, there you go. Yeah, Chris, you're making a good point. To the extent that you use your fingernails break. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I've tried growing out my nails a little bit, and they break. I've tried putting on nice clear nail polish. Good old Sally, what's her name? Sally Hansen, whatever that brand is. And you know, for about one day, they're strong enough to do finger picking, and then they break the next day. So that's just me. But again, nothing wrong with using your bare fingers. There's that friction that potentially can slow you down. You know, the friction of your actual skin on the strings. That is not nothing, right? If someone's going for pure speed, they want to be the fastest finger picker ever, then either nails or finger picks on each finger is, I guess that would be the way to go if pure speed was your number one goal. Anyways, it's a great question, and now you got my 2 cents. My 2 cents on that. All right, you guys, last chance. Hey, how are we doing in our poll? I know we didn't get an actual poll question up and running. The poll question of the night was when was the last time you paid for recorded music? Did you buy a physical product? Did you just pay your monthly subscription payment to YouTube Music? You know, when was the last time you did? Are you kind of off the grid? Do you have your albums and cassettes and your CDs? And you have dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, and you just have no need to go out and get more because you have a whole lifetime of stuff? Let us know in the chat. I'm curious. Typically, we have a poll running, and you can click and do stuff. And YouTube is just giving me this weird error message with no remedy on how to fix it. So that's why we don't have our typical poll up and running in a visual kind of way. And it won't let me see your chats, but that's okay. I got your chats going on my phone, so I can see them there. You know what? Barry, you're a man after my own heart. Barry is mentioning Mark Knopfler playing his great style of guitar using his bare fingers. One thing I don't know is to what extent Mark Knopfler gets some of his fingernails involved. But I'm sure he's not a shy guy. I'm sure there's multiple interviews where he is likely to mention to the extent that his fingernail gets involved. Your fingernails don't have to be super long to get them involved in finger picking, a little bit. But they're still likely to break before you'd like them to, you know. Lindsey Buckingham, another guy who plays with his bare fingers. Robbie Krieger from The Doors. These are just people of the generation of musicians that I listen to. Hubert Sumlin, blues great Hubert Sumlin, bare fingers. So many talented people do not use a pick of any kind. It makes you wonder, wait a minute, then why do the rest of us? You know, if they'd never use a pick. Personal preference, you know, who knows? A to Z Me, you're talking about Jeff Beck. Now, did Jeff Beck, I'm assuming that Jeff Beck, my impression of Jeff Beck is that he does whatever he wants. He uses a pick when he wants to. He uses his fingers. He does whatever. I have my Jeff Beck book. I just haven't read it yet. A week ago, I went to the used bookstore and stocked up a whole bunch of books, including a Jeff Beck technique book, and I just haven't looked at it yet. So, but A to Z Me, I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Beck, like a lot of the real sort of guitar players, he does whatever he feels like. Pick fingers, you know, whatever sound is in his head, he works at getting that sound to come out of the guitar. All right, you guys. So I think I have checked off what I set out to do. And I hope you had a good time. I hope I answered your question. By the way, if you think of a question, just ask me next time. But make a note so you don't forget, okay? So speaking of next time, next week, yeah, I'm not going anywhere. So I will see you next week, same as usual. We'll do this again. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a great week coming up. I'm gonna call it there. Good night, right? We had a good night. Anything else? Hey, V Berghaus is saying, did you ever see Chet Atkins' left hand? I never did. Oh, Chris is CLS Creates is saying James Taylor used a nail hardener. Yeah. She says, I have really good fingernails. It's my superpower. But that is a superpower. That's great. That's great. Hey, look, we all, we're all born the way we're born. And you might not know it, but you might have a superpower. Oh, here's a note to end on. Speaking of superpowers, this will be the last thing. And maybe we'll dig deeper into this in the future. But on a philosophical note, the word curiosity, your own curiosity, it certainly can be a driving force in all this stuff, right? You're curious about something you just heard me say. Hey, wait, Robbie Krieger from The Doors never used a pick. And you go and you look for a video of him doing it, and maybe you notice this, you notice that. Curiosity counts as a superpower. It got you this far. I know I still totally enjoy figuring out how someone did something, maybe in a song that I've heard my whole life. I think, oh, that's that sound I heard. Oh, there it is. Oh, and maybe it's something I can do. Maybe it's something I can't do. But my curiosity is now satisfied, or to some extent, like, oh, that's that sound I've been hearing. How cool is that? So curiosity is, you might not have thought of it this way before, but if you're the kind of curious person who's like, wow, I kind of want to see, whatever. I'm kind of curious what it would be like to play with finger picks. It counts as a superpower. Curiosity is an important thing. It keeps us going. I can't imagine I can't imagine what it would be like to lose that sense of curiosity about music, especially because music is such an endless kind of deep well. It never really stops. So if you're a curious person, you're in the right place, you're in the right field, you're holding the right instrument, that's for sure. So I hope may you have a week where you find yourself asking questions and then explore them, maybe online, and get some answers, and stay curious, my friends. All right, on that happy note, I'm going to say goodnight, you guys. Thanks for being here. Thank you to our moderators. Hi to my mom, if you're watching. Hi, Mom. And my son had a swim meet today. Son, I'm going to check in and see how you did in your swim meet. I hope you did great. I know you gave 100%, and I'm so proud of you. Everybody have a great week, and I'll see you next Saturday. We'll do all this again. All right, take care, everybody. Have a good night.